Saturday night in downtown Beirut.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hip Hop Essentials 101.
It's the 5th anniversary of Hip Hop Essentials at the bar Radio Beirut.
This is the first beat of the night or what?
And it's packed.
Yes.
For the past 5 years, one of the main acts here has been a rap artist named Chyno.
Yes. The man Chyno, who's been here from day one.
He recently gained notoriety for songs that gave a raw insight into political, religious, and ideological extremism. A sensitive, if not taboo, topic in this part of the world.
Mr. Hadidi, all I need is that beat, sir. Got a Hadidi and I'm trying to go ham again. Ricky Medina told me gotta go with beef first. Welcome to Ramadan, but doing Easter.
Chyno's first solo single, OPP, was so controversial, he says radio stations refused to play it.
This 23-year-old man is reading his will.
Some people think that I'm shedding too much light on the dark spots of our environment or our world, and especially in places like Lebanon, where they might feel like we're on the borderline economically, socially. So they'd rather me talk about great things about Beirut and not really shed too much light on the bad stuff.
I'm taking my life away, they try to take it anyway, right? Shit, that I'm making my family more than my job will ever pay, right? More than the evil, bitches up all more than they see myself on heaven's gate. Don't see a better way to die, might as well be the day, right?
Chyno, who raps in both English and Arabic, writes music intended to shock the listener in an effort to raise awareness of the root cause of extremism, even as many think it puts the region and its predominant religion in a bad light.
With 250 kilograms of explosives.
In this song, the chorus is like, I am the fisherman or the hunter, you were the butcher. Let's go to JIHAD, you know, and let's go for the calling, you know. I like making music in first-person narrative. Like in OPP, it was the perspective of a suicide bomber. I've done songs with child soldiers and their perspectives, so I felt like it's a more powerful way because you're describing emotions and feelings and anger, and it has to be provocative, it has to be polarizing. I have to reflect my environment, and if people don't like how I see my environment, then that's on them, and you just have to be courageous enough to cross lines and push yourself.
By working with psychiatrists, Chyno says he understands his environment much better and why people turn towards extremist activity.
There is a big social, political, economical dilemma, you know, so it makes them ripe for the catch. It's just your options are so limited or so minimal. Where are you gonna go with it, you know? And you have these options in front of you. So psychiatrist was important, having actual research that we use as references. So these individuals are in jail for allegedly doing terrorist, activity or extremist activity, and they would have research profiles on them. All this where we felt was important to understand the situation and treat it very fairly.
Born Nasser Shobaji to a Filipino mother and Syrian father, and having grown up in Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Lebanon much of his life, he says he too knows what it's like to feel excluded.
Me being Syrian and Filipino made me not really fit in both those backgrounds or in the Middle East or Asia, because I don't look Arab to Arabs and I don't look Filipino to Filipinos. And I think that made me gravitate towards hip-hop in a very strong way. So this feeling of alienation that I had and have 30 years of experience, this disadvantage of mine growing up became a strong point in how I wrote my music. I do conscious hip-hop, and I will always make music that reflects my environment. I mean, art does imitate life.
More and more artists like Chyno are now using music not only to fight that close-minded ideology, but also to help heal it.
Well, music works both ways. Extremists also use music to fulfill their propaganda or to gain followers. We use it, as the counter to them. We use it for love and for tolerance and for bringing people together and getting young people off the street to do something more interesting and more valuable with their time.
And that's exactly what's going on in the country's second biggest city, Tripoli, known to have its fair share of problems with radical ideology. Chyno's project aims at highlighting the conditions of disenfranchised youths, such as those here in the northern Lebanese city of Tripoli. But it's here where we met some of those disenfranchised youths who themselves are creating music in an attempt to give their life meaning. There was a time when these boys were literally at war with each other. Half of this table grew up in the Tripoli neighborhood of Jabal Mohsen, and the other half in Bab al-Tabani, two communities locked in an armed conflict for years over opposing political affiliations in Syria. The conflict has killed more than 200 people in the past 8 years, according to international figures.
قلت له شو يا شباب تنزلوا على وين انتم متبيني والله تبيني وبننزل طقعك تبيني لي عليه بدك تنزل لعندهم انتم خلص بننزل له قلت له انا اول شيء ننزل ومعي فرد عجبني الوضع عجبني ما عجبني يعمل مشكله هيك مطلوب وطول.
Most of these guys are also unemployed. According to the United Nations, more than half of Tripoli's population is impoverished. Difficult conditions have made it a breeding ground for conflict and extremism.
How's the life now? If you just take a look, just check the electrical cables. You go into one shop, there's no electricity. You go into another shop, it doesn't have water. Bad phones connection, bad internet. The living circumstances are really bad. Maybe I'll pick a gun, maybe I'll pick my own battles, and when you're full of frustration and when you're deprived, you're ready to fight.
Mohammed Sarhan is a project manager for the NGO March, which has been working in Tripoli since 2014. They are trying to reconcile youth who are in conflict with one another through creative collaborations, such as music.
When you're working in music, it's something different because it's coming from a feeling. You're making music, you're writing your own lyrics, you're singing. If you don't have a good voice, you go to rap.
Rap gives these boys a powerful outlet to vent their frustrations.
And rap, in a way or another, it's always like walking in parallel with anger. And those people have a lot of anger inside of them for the circumstances they were living in, for what was happening around them, how they couldn't be able to move forward in their lives because of the area they come from, how they live.
يا ربي يا معين انت القادر اعطيك صابر الله على كل مين ومين نزلين بتروب نصف فيها النجر ونسبة البطالة 90% كفر والباقي في شيء بدك تعمله سهل؟ لا تمام؟
MHEILI has witnessed a lot of fighting in his neighborhood Tabani. He says he escaped all this by diving into music.
نظريتي عن الوقت اللي مرق قبل وعن المعارك اللي صارت قبل انه كانوا عم يزرعوا الحقد والكره بين قلوب الشباب وبتعرف كمان يعني هون ما كان في شغل ويعني التقصير بحق الشغل يجوا يعطوهم مصاري مقابل انهم يحاربوا هيدا كمان شيء يعني تاثير على النفسيه تبعيتهم وخصوصي عم تحكي راب يعني عم تحكي وجع يعني اكيد معروف انه الراب رساله ووجع الشخص هو بيكون عم يغني بده يوصله للناس اكثر.
He now works at March, teaching youth from both communities how to write music.
هلا نحن لما عادة يعني كرابرز لما بنكتب غنية نحن بنكون عم نكتب غنية عن وضعنا نحن، يعني نحن شو عم نحس أو نحن شو عم نعيش بحياتنا اليومية أو بمنطقتنا. هيدا الشيء خلانا أكثر كمان نوصل رسالتنا للعالم اللي عم تحس نفس الشعور اللي نحن عم نحسه. يعني إذا نحن مزعوجين كثير من المعارك اللي كانت عم بتصير قبل، في كثير ناس وشباب مثلي أو مثل غيري حابين كمان يغيروا هيدا الشيء، يعني صاروا يسمعوا اكثر، يفهموا اكثر يعني شو عم يصير، يتفتحوا اكثر من وراء الاغاني والموسيقى، وكمان طبعا انت بتعرف انه الموسيقى بتلعب على احساس البني ادم.
Bilal, who is also from Tabani, says he understands why people turn to radical ideology.
كوضع اقتصادي هلا اكثر منطقه بالشرق الاوسط هي على انه على جوع وفقر، فما في شيء حتى يعملوه. انه خد لك سلاح يلا روح حارب وكذا قاتل خد وقف ورا دشمي يا زلمه قوس. طيب عم تقوس انت على مين عم تقوس؟ يمكن يكون رفيقك يمكن يكون اخوك ما بتعرف مين شو عم تعمل. هلا انا لما اكتب بحاول قد ما فيني نفهم الناس انه هذا الشيء غلط، لا توقع بمصيبه غيرك بتهون عليك. في كثير ناس عايشه بالسجون لهلا بعدها من 3-4 سنين لهلا بقصص ما لها علاقه فيها.
When you are listening to their problems, when they are voicing out their problems, when they are starting to express their problems, we know that they are not expressing their anger and their fear and their frustration in a different way. And we always count on this.
Mohammed's organization has not only given Tripoli's youth the opportunity to produce music, but has also employed some in this cafe. Ultimately, it has brought communities here together.
Getting them to know each other, getting them to know how they were living, they started to realize that they are very similar. They are living the same lives. They are suffering from the same things that they are feeling around them, and they started to feel that they are close to each other.
Back in Beirut, Chyno's music was used for the Arabic web series The Misled by Labiba Productions. It tells the raw, drawn-out story of a young man facing the temptations of radical extremism.
I don't know if music really fights extremism, but culture does, you know. Just making people aware of a certain situation, and you combat it by attitude and being positive in life and understanding the situation. It's not a gun, it's more like a shield.
Music brings people together. It raises awareness, it raises tolerance, it brings communities together. Not so long ago, there was a civil war happening just down the street. And now you see, all walks of Lebanese life mingling in one space. And, for the love of music. So, in a way, music is a weapon for good.
In Lebanon, a country with a deep history of civil war and where political and religious divisions make it susceptible to conflict, music has given younger generations an outlet to promote peace and understanding. For Assignment Asia, I'm Natalie Carney in Lebanon.